For the first time in the Gambia,
44265
UCMAS, in partnership with AFRISOL, presents a quick reaction thinking educational show. Students between 6 and 13 years. Questions,
4,
answers,
2, 5, 8.
Speed, mental abilities, mathematical problems
2,
and solution.
2, 3.
Grand prize of 30,000 for the first winner. The UCMAS Arithmetic Competition. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. and replayed on Saturday at 2 p.m. on GRTS.
Hello and welcome to the Star TV Newsroom, broadcasting from our studios in Serekunda. I am Seydou Kamara and thanks for joining us. First with our headlines. Lawmakers debates victims, reparation bills, general merits and principles. Gambia government and World Bank embarks on performance review exercise. Local government inquiry. Former Bashe Area Council CEO testifies on 2019 audit report. On international news, Mali UN withdrawal. Junta says armed group takes over UN bases. Myanmar rebels, main trade routes under control of armed groups. Ukraine agriculture, war-weary farmers go planting. Those very headlines are now the news in detail. The National Assembly of the Gambia has commenced its first extraordinary session to discuss several significant bills. The Wednesday session begins with an extensive debate on the general merits and principles of the Victim Reparation Bill 2023. Our parliamentary correspondent, Mariama Tem, reports.
This is the first extraordinary session of the National Assembly in the 2023 legislative year. Members during this period will deliberate on 4 bills that comes to the House through matter of urgency, in accordance with Section 101 in the 1997 Constitution. The first bill to be tabled before lawmakers on Wednesday by the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Honorable Dauda A. Jallow, is the Victims Reparations Bill 2023. However, prior to the tabling of the bill, some division emerged from members, which resulted for voting to take place. 31 members voted in favor while 14 against it. The proposed legislation aims to establish a commission responsible for the reparations of victims of the 22-year rule of ex-President Jammeh.
The bill seeks to establish a reparations commission whose responsibility is to review reparations paid out by the TRRC and make necessary adjustments, receive and evaluate process and make a determination as to new victims not identified by the TRRC.
If comes to being, this commission will be responsible to review the reparations already paid out by the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission, TRRC, and make necessary adjustments if needed. It will receive, evaluate, process, and make determinations regarding new victims who were not identified by the TRRC to ensure that all victims, even those previously overlooked, have a fair chance at receiving reparations. After reading the bill for the first and second time, members began with debating on the general merits and principles. Honorable Swaibu Toure is the member for Wule East. He described the bill as timely and fit for purpose.
I believe this bill is quite apt and timely because it is seeking to redress long-standing human rights violations.
Member for Banjul South, Honorable Fatima Tanjai, and the member for Serekunda West, Honorable Madu Sise, among other members, supports the bill, but expressed dissatisfaction on the nature in which it comes to the Assembly, citing lack of enough time for rigorous review and scrutiny.
I really support this bill, but not under the way it is presented to us as representatives of the people. This National Assembly is yet to determine the entire proceedings from the sales of former President Jammeh's properties. And this is being rushed to us to pass so that more embezzlement will be done without the knowledge and without proper scrutiny. My take for this is to take it through the normal process, send it to relevant committees so that everything that should be done to ensure that the objects and reasons and the principles of these bills are adhered to.
Nobody in these chambers will go against this bill, and I am not against this bill. My only issue is to force it down our throats to get it done within few hours. Then we will not be doing justice to the bill. That's my only issue with it. Otherwise,
However, members like Honorable Beleji Tunkara, the NAMF Kantora and Majority Leader, and the member for All Yundum Honorable Abdullah Sise, among others, have a different view.
it's been 7 years down the line, they are waiting. It is an opportunity for healing. It is an opportunity for country to forge ahead. It's an opportunity for us to reconcile as a nation. So I cannot agree more with the bill, and that is why I throw back my support to make sure that we rally behind the executive, put it as a matter of urgency, put every importance attached to it to make sure that the victims are compensated. But we cannot say what is urgent about the bill. It's urgent, of course. We all say it here. All these people are knocking our doors every day as members of parliament. And these are victims residing with us in our communities or in fact in our houses. I am supporting this bill. Not because I want the president to have a commission or whatever. I think the president thought it wise to support the victims. And that is where I am. I am going to support this bill, Honorable Speaker. With that few remarks, I urge my colleagues to support the bill and then move forward and then at least give reparation to these victims who have suffered within that period.
So you want to tell me that this bill should come through normal session and you expect for the government to start implementing this victim reparation fund next year? It's not possible. That is not possible. Let us call a spade a spade. If we are definitely very serious and definitely very concerned about the victims, there is nothing stopping us to bring this under extraordinary session.
The bill also seeks to create and maintain an up-to-date database of victims. This database will serve as a comprehensive record allowing for efficient management and coordination of reparations-related matters. Furthermore, the Commission will be responsible for developing and publishing guidelines and procedures for the granting of reparations. The bill proposes the establishment of a victims fund that will be sourced from various channels, including proceeds from the sale of properties owned by former President Jammeh. However, in order to determine the amount of reparation payable to victims, the bill suggests the implementation of a point system. These will be utilized by the commissioners who will assess the individual circumstances of each victim and assign them a corresponding score, ensuring a systematic and fair approach. Maria Madem, reporting for Star TV News.
The government of the Gambia and the World Bank have on Tuesday embarked on a portfolio and performance review exercise. The event was a crucial opportunity for the World Bank to assess the performance in the Gambia. Muriel Baji tells us more.
This gathering brought together officials from the government of the Gambia and the World Bank to examine the performance and portfolio of the bank's impact in the country. It also looked into the challenges and identified solutions to further improve the project outcomes. In her opening statement, the World Bank Country Director, Keiko Moa, said the World Bank is intensifying efforts to become more bigger and more effective. She added that the Gambia's portfolio has experienced significant growth in the recent years. Madam Miwa revealed that her office has a proposed plan pending which is aimed at promoting inclusive development.
By assessing the relevance of project activities in relation to the Gambia's National Development Plan and also the World Bank's country partnership framework, we can make necessary adjustments to maximize their impact and contribute to the overall development of the Gambia. Second, we will also address project implementation constraints and challenges. It is essential that we identify these issues and work together to find viable solutions. By doing so, we can overcome obstacles and enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of our projects and maximizing the benefit for the people of the Gambia. Third, we will discuss the risk in our portfolio, particularly in terms of fiduciary aspects such as procurement, financial management systems, and also on environment and social safeguards. It is important that we identify any weaknesses or gaps in these areas and take appropriate measures to mitigate risks. This will ensure the transparent and accountable use of resources and safeguard the interests of all stakeholders involved.
The Minister for Finance and Economic Affairs, Sidi Keita, said the World Bank has been a reliable partner over the years, adding that Cabinet is leaving no stone unmoved in implementing the National Development Plan, which seeks to transform the country's economy. Minister Keita furthered that the outcome of this year's country performance portfolio review is expected to serve as a good project management strategy for the attainment of the nation's development objectives.
It's noteworthy to highlight that the government attaches high priority on the outcome of the CPPR report validation, since the country either allocation envelope depends on factors such as the country needs, its portfolio performance, and assessment. We thank the World Bank for really increasing the envelope size for the country, and we've seen tremendous increase. As we speak, we notice that the portfolio consists of 6 national projects amounting to 328 million, and 5 regional projects amounting to 225 million, covering education, agriculture, energy, health, climate resilience, and coastal communities. All these are very important sectors and projects geared towards improving the lives and livelihood of the Gambians.
The Finance Minister reiterated the government of the Gambia's commitment to ensuring swift delivery and effective project coordination. He also outlined the objective of the policy.
The policy will therefore seek to ensure that external support from the development partners is coordinated, harmonized, and focused on results, as well as to be aligned with our national development priorities and our institutions and systems, as well as our national development plan. This is expected to improve the quality and effectiveness of the development cooperation. The policy will further aim to ensure that the country has a clear, systematic, and well-coordinated procedure for effective aid management, and more importantly, the reporting of aid information from our development partners and our project implementation units.
The day-long activity allows stakeholders to brainstorm on the challenges and make recommendations for the Gambia portfolio performance riskiness. For Star TV, I am Model Baje.
As the former Chief Executive Officer of the Basse Area Council continues to testify at the Local Government Commission of Inquiry, the Tuesday sittings was focused on the 2019 audit report from the National Audit Office and bad governance. Our Sane has the details.
Started with bad governance since he took office in 2019 as the CEO of Basse Area Council. Mr. Usman Toure said there were changes the moment he started the job, adding that he encouraged meetings from time to time when the need arises, which he claimed made him stand out from others that were in that office before him. Mr. Toure let out that he took over one Lamin Jete, who was leading the council at the time, and one Madibo Kruma, who was serving as the internal auditor. He continued to explain why there was no balance sheet payment when the council prepared and submitted the income and export statement.
Results of lack of reconciliation.
What is the importance of having a balance sheet?
It will help you to have an updated information about the income and expenditure.
And so why did you not make sure that this was the case?
Well, like I said, we've been battling with the issue of the capacity of the finance directors not being able to...
That has nothing to do with capacity. People were occupying the offices, so they have to give reports. They have to prepare the necessary documentation to help or assist or provide adequate information as to the financial status of the area council.
Yeah, those things should be provided.
Yes, so they were not provided. So I am now showing you why it was easier for the Director of Finance, Lamin Suso, to have his way out, to control the accounts of the area council the way he wants to, and misuse and mismanage the funds of council.
Moreover, while discussing the abstract book with council Gomez, the former CEO highlighted the importance of a monthly abstract book that the council should prepare.
Yes, it's correct. But
why is that important?
It's very, very important.
Why?
Because it will address us with the updated information about our financial transactions.
All right.
Yes. What I'm saying is that I'm not trying to shift the blame.
Yes.
I'm the head of the institution and I'll be responsible. But I want to believe that they also have their TORs and
who is they?
The finance department.
They have the TOR?
Yeah, that it is part of their mandate.
Okay.
Yes, it is part of their mandate to make sure that the books of accounts are all being updated.
Are all being updated?
Yes.
And so,
as expected.
And so if they fail to do that?
They should be bring to book.
They should?
Be bring to book.
By?
Accordingly. By the CEO.
And who was the CEO at the time?
I was the CEO at that time.
Did you bring them to book?
No.
And so why are you telling us what they did?
Follow-ups were done, but to no avail.
When Council Patrick Gomez asked Ture the reason his council did not have a bank reconciliation during his tenure from 2019 to 2023, this is the response he gave.
I used to do it at my own end, but what should be prepared?
You used to do what?
I said I used to do my own reconciliation.
Your own reconciliation?
When I requested from them, they cannot produce it. I have to do my own reconciliation to know.
Give us a sample of a reconciliation you have done.
No, I will take the bank.
Show. We don't have to really do much of the talking.
Okay.
Do you have evidence of the bank reconciliation you have done yourself?
I don't have it.
So why are you telling us you do it?
Okay, thank you. Sorry for that.
No, I don't want you to act as if you don't. If you have the evidence, provide the evidence.
No, I don't have the evidence. I'll only look at it. I'll only look at the bank statements to know, compare it with what is in the bank and what is paid by what is deposited by the collectors.
So if these problems were happening in 2019,
yes,
and you will not prepare Monday bank reconciliation, how will you account for given a correct, up-to-date, accurate financial statements or financial position of the area council? How will you account for every dollar?
It will be impossible to account for.
Extremely impossible.
Meanwhile, Ture continues that the bank reconciliation for 2019 downwards was prepared later after the audit report. However, Council Gomez proved the information was not accurate. Awasane for Star TV News.
From that story, we will now take a short commercial break, and when we return, the news continues. Stay tuned.
Send money to Gambia for free! You can now send money via MoneyGram to AfriMoney in Gambia anytime, anywhere. Simply go on to MoneyGram.com or the app and select Pay through AfriMoney to send. Make sure the receiver is registered on AfriMoney in Gambia or get them to dial *777# to register. Instantly, the money comes into their AfriMoney wallet. No hassle, no wait times, complete ease. Cash out at any AfriMoney agent or AfriCell outlets. Free cash out, no sending fees.
Do you enjoy spending time online with your friends on social media? If so, then AfriCell has the best offer for you. Activate the social media bundle for $10 is only and enjoy 40 megabytes valid for 24 hours. WhatsApp, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and Viber all for $10 is only. Dial 120# and press 3 to activate the social media bundle. No need to subscribe every day. It will automatically roll over for your enjoyment. AfriCell Social Media Bundle. Let us socialize.
Welcome back after that short commercial break. If you are just tuning in, you are watching the Star TV Newsroom. Let's now take a look at some international news. Mali's military is accusing the UN peacekeeping mission of compromising security in the north of the country by closing its operations in haste. Chadian UN peacekeepers are leaving the northern town of Kidal, where Tuareg rebels are regrouping. The junta says the UN's departure is creating security vacuum with armed groups gaining grounds. Al Jazeera's Nicholas Hick reports.
Shows what's left of the UN peacekeeping base in Agalok in northern Mali. Under attack, UN troops destroyed their own equipment to prevent armed groups from stealing it. In a statement, the world body says the withdrawal is taking place under extremely tense security conditions, with soldiers forced to shelter in bunkers due to gunfire. Of the UN's 12 permanent military bases, half have already closed down and are now held by Al-Qaeda fighters or Tuareg rebels. Mali's junta accuses the peacekeepers of compromising security by leaving too soon and failing to hand over their bases to the Malian army.
This time the Malian government basically asked everybody to leave. First the French anti-terror mission last year, now the UN peacekeeping force. The country is isolated. It's hard to see who might come to Mali's rescue this time. And everybody is basically praying that the conflict won't, turn to a larger instability in the region.
Afraid of what's to come, many people have already left. The UN says thousands of Malians in the north are on the move, seeking refuge in Mauritania. Neighboring countries, including Senegal, have increased border surveillance, fearing the violence in Mali could spread across the region. The military government is counting on its cooperation with Russia. A convoy of former Wagner fighters and Malian soldiers is heading north to recapture the UN peacekeeping bases.
Recently, 18 people were killed, including children and elderly people. The Russian Wagner group, supported by Mali's army, slaughtered them.
Armed fighters are preparing for a showdown with the Malian and Russian forces. As the UN leaves, Mali appears to be spiraling into civil war. Nicholas Hawk, Al Jazeera.
One of Myanmar's most important trade routes from the city of Mandalay to the Chinese border is now under the control of rebels. That comes after an alliance of ethnic armed groups launched a series of attacks across northern Shan state. The cooperation among these groups could be a major obstacle for Myanmar's ruling military. Al Jazeera's Tony Cheng reports.
In jungles close to the border with China, rebels attack a government position. Despite facing superior armor and firepower, these fighters have made dramatic gains across Shan State. Strategic hilltop bases, vital to the control of this region, have also fallen to their forces. They captured weapons, ammunition, and government troops, and formed a new coalition.
Our policy is to work with all resistance organizations to eliminate the junta. Now we are fighting in the south under the command of the Karen. Here in the north we are fighting under the Brotherhood Alliance. In the immediate future, we will also expand our operations in central Myanmar.
Myanmar's military is fighting back. Volleys fired from artillery batteries and bases that haven't yet been overrun. And it remains unchallenged in the air, making it hard for the rebels to hold ground. In the border city of Chin Shui Ho, thousands have fled into China, fearing the military's response.
We call on relevant parties to cease fire as soon as possible, resolve disputes peacefully through dialogue and consultation, avoid escalation of the situation, and take concrete and effective measures to ensure the security at the China-Myanmar border.
The speed and success of this rebel offensive puts one of Myanmar's key transport arteries under rebel control. The road to Mandalay, National Highway number 3, the trade route with China. That could be disastrous for the ruling generals in Naypyidaw, but Beijing has been hedging its bets.
Chinese foreign policies on Myanmar is very complicated. While maintaining a relationship with Naypyidaw and the military government, China has also been developing relationships with armed ethnic groups. It's a challenge for the Chinese to juggle its connections with various parties.
The other concern for Myanmar's military rulers will be the threat of different ethnic armies coordinating themselves to deadly effect. One of the larger groups, the Ta'ang National Liberation Army, has been threatening to do this for some time. This success may have shown them all that unity is the way forward. Tony Chen.
War-weary farmers in Ukraine are curbing winter crop plantings that will be ready to harvest by next summer. Ukraine is one of the world's biggest producers of this type of grain. Al Jazeera's Rob McBridge traveled to a farming area in Kiev region to see the problems farmers face as they try to reach global markets in need of cheap food.
On part of his 500-hectare farm, Alexandra Chubuk shows us the fields of winter wheat that are already sprouting. But he also shows us the adjacent fields where he's decided not to plant this year. And this is why. His warehouses are still filled with 800 tons of grain from last year's harvest that he can't sell without making a loss.
I've reduced my winter wheat by about 30%, but I know there are farms that I've reduced by more than half. and I've heard of some that have decided not to plant at all.
Working on very low margins, farmers were hit hard by the steep rise in export costs caused by the war, made worse this last summer when Russia scrapped an agreement to allow safe passage of some grain ships from Ukraine's southern ports. Russia pulled out of the Black Sea grain deal, accusing the Ukrainians of using the corridor to attack its navy ships. Kyiv has accused Moscow in turn of using hunger as a weapon in this conflict. Many farms have been switching production to make a profit, like sugar beet or oil-producing crops that are not as bulky to export.
For the second year in a row, we're seeing an increase of oil crops compared to grain that have a higher price and take up less space, so they aren't as badly affected by the significant transport costs.
For Alexandra Chubuk, his more immediate concern is whether to harvest other crops like corn for bread making, if he could export it freely. If not, then whether to let it rot where it stands. Rob McBride, Al Jazeera, Zakhurivka Village, Ukraine.
Before we end the news, a quick recap of our main headlines. Lawmakers debate victims' reparation bills, general merits and principles. Gambia government and World Bank embarks on performance review exercise. Local government inquiry. Former Basse Area Council CEO testifies on 2019 audit report. On international news, Mali UN withdrawal. Junta says armed group takes over UN bases. Myanmar rebels, main trade routes under control of armed groups. Ukraine agriculture, war-weary farmers go planting. That's all we have for you in this edition of the news. Do join us tomorrow for more news. In the meantime, do enjoy the rest of our programs. Thanks for watching.